Hello MotoGP fans. Welcome back to ZNGP Today. Six-time MotoGP World Champion Marc Márquez may have reclaimed the crown in 2025, but according to Casey Stoner, his dominance isn't just about speed. In an exclusive interview, Stoner identified two decisive elements in Márquez's modern racing craft: strategic patience and tyre intelligence. Below, what it tells us about why Márquez is winning again. Five-time world champion Jorge Lorenzo has delivered a sweeping analysis from Sepang, covering Marc Márquez's transformation, Ducati's technical edge, and why Maverick Viñales could be 2020 SIX's surprise package. Below, what it reveals about the shifting balance of power. A new era begins for Pramac Racing, now aligned with Yamaha and developing a brand new V4 project. But amid the technical reset, team boss Gino Borsa also sent a clear message to the rider market: if Jorge Martin ever wants to return, the door is open. Below, what it means for Yamaha's rebuild, Toprak's adaptation, and the 2027 chessboard. The Sepang test has delivered an early statement, and it came from Alex Marquez. Fastest overall, strongest in sprint simulation, and leading the charge for the new Ducati GP26 package. Behind the scenes, Michele Massini believes the bigger story is technical. Ducati has taken a clear step forward. Below, what it means for Gresini, Ducati, and the early 2026 hierarchy. Don't forget to click subscribe button and the bell icon for MotoGP news update. Stoner begins by dismissing the obvious. Talent? Undeniable. Speed? Never in question. But that's not the differentiator. In today's MotoGP field, plenty of riders are fast. What separates Márquez now, Stoner argues, is how he constructs a race. There's no doubting his talent, but I don't think there's a lot of them that use their full capacity of their race craft. That's where Marc beats them now. This is critical. Stoner isn't saying Márquez is simply faster, he's saying he's smarter. The Spaniard builds pressure, manages phases of the race, and understands when to attack. It's strategic domination, not reckless aggression. If there's one theme Stoner repeats, it's tyre management. He believes few observers truly recognized how calculated Márquez was throughout 2025, especially in the second half of races. Nobody seems to understand what he's doing in the races to preserve tires. A very common theme was how patient he was with the tires. The pattern is subtle but devastating. Early laps, controlled pace, reduced corner stress, minimal sliding. Final laps, superior grip, stronger drive, decisive attacks. Stoner compares it to Formula One, specifically to Max Verstappen, drivers who build performance over a stint rather than burning it immediately. The takeaway? Márquez now wins races in the final third, not the first 5 laps. Perhaps the most technical insight from Stoner concerns electronics. Modern MotoGP bikes are heavily governed by traction control systems. Most riders rely on them. Stoner believes Márquez works ahead of them. The electronics are only reacting to a reaction. Marc is basically keeping the electronics back from that and conserving the tyre. By riding just ahead of the system, not forcing slides, not triggering aggressive intervention, he reduces tyre degradation early. When grip fades late in the race, he has a margin others don't. This mirrors Stoner's own philosophy during his MotoGP career: rider feel first, electronics second. Márquez's 6-year gap between titles, from 2019 to 2025, may have looked like decline from the outside. Stoner sees it differently. Injuries, difficult seasons, and adaptation have refined him. What it's done is build another level of strength and intelligence and patience. The young, ultra-aggressive Márquez of the 2010s often overwhelmed races through instinct. The 2025 version wins through calculation. And when needed, Stoner says he can still flip the switch. reminding rivals that raw pace remains in reserve. Stoner's verdict is clear: Marquez isn't dominating because rivals are slow. He's dominating because he understands the race better. Tire conservation, electronics management, and strategic patience have elevated him into a more complete rider. In 2026, the field may be closer. Manufacturers may improve. But if Marquez continues to win the race in the final laps, not the opening ones, the difference won't be horsepower. It will be intelligence. Lorenzo's most striking observation concerns the evolution of Marc Márquez. The Spaniard who once overpowered races with aggression has, in Lorenzo's view, become something far more controlled, and therefore more dangerous. He's not the explosive Marc who used to drop back, who seemed to be killing himself to take a corner. Now he's precise, he never makes mistakes. That's a profound shift. The old Marquez thrived on chaos and late-breaking heroics. The 2026 version is calculated, measured, almost surgical. At Sepang, not historically his strongest circuit, he topped the opening day. Lorenzo's reaction? It's scary. The message to the grid is simple: this isn't just a fast Marquez. It's a refined one. Away from Ducati Red, Lorenzo has taken on a new role, guiding Maverick Viñales as sporting coach at KTM. And emotionally, he's invested. Now my job is to teach him the things I've learned in 30 years. During the day I think more about him than about myself. This is more than casual advice. Lorenzo is actively shaping Viñales' approach, technically, mentally, and even physically. He highlights meditation as the hardest adjustment, calming hyperactivity, conserving mental energy before races. For Lorenzo, performance isn't just about speed, it's about managing emotional bandwidth. If that mental discipline clicks, KTM could gain a more consistent Viñales, not just a fast one. Lorenzo's technical read of the grid is equally revealing. His conclusion? Ducati remains the reference point, but the gap is shrinking. For me, Ducati is still the most complete bike. They've created a bike without weaknesses. That's a powerful endorsement of Ducati course. Unlike previous eras where the Desmoceticai had clear strengths and flaws, Lorenzo sees balance as its defining trait. He places Aprilia Racing very close, especially praising Marco Bezzecchi's corner speed, and warns that Honda has made a frightening leap forward. In short, Ducati leads, but no longer comfortably. Lorenzo also addressed the 2027 rider market, with speculation swirling around Pecco Bagnaia's future. His advice was pragmatic. If I were him, I'd do what's best for myself. Maximum respect for Pecco, he's a legend. That's both diplomatic and loaded. Lorenzo acknowledges uncertainty, rumors linking Pedro Acosta to Ducati, whispers about Fabio and Honda, but refuses to diminish Bagnaia's stature. Two-time champion, Ducati's modern standard-bearer, still fully capable of reclaiming the title. The underlying message: 2026 performance will dictate 2027 decisions. Lorenzo's verdict from Sepang is layered. Marquez has evolved into a precision weapon. Ducati remains the benchmark. Honda is resurging. And Viñales, under Lorenzo's mentorship, could surprise. But the clearest takeaway? The explosive era of Marquez may be over, replaced by something colder, sharper, and arguably harder to beat. The season hasn't started yet. The tension already has. After years under Ducati machinery, Pramac now faces a far more complex mission, helping Yamaha transition to a completely new V4 platform. Borsa isn't hiding from the challenge, he's reframing it. We hope the atmosphere will give us the strength to turn things around. 2026 will be a completely different story. Translation: 2025 was transitional. 2026 is foundational. This isn't just about race results, it's about building the technical base for 2027's regulation reset. Yamaha's V4 must work now, because it becomes the blueprint for the next era. The headline signing is three-time World SBK champion Toprak Razgatlioglu, stepping into MotoGP with carbon brakes and Michelin tires for the first time. Borsa admits adaptation won't be instant, but he's already impressed. On the second day, he understood this, and began to change his approach to the front brake. That's critical. Toprak's identity has always been extreme braking, but MotoGP demands refinement, not spectacle. At Sepang, he clocked a 1:58 despite never racing there before. The key metric for Borsa isn't gap, it's progression. If this learning curve continues, mid-season competitiveness isn't unrealistic. Alongside Toprak sits experience, Jack Miller. Having raced V4 machinery with Ducati and KTM, Miller becomes Yamaha's reference point. Ultimately, this is a crucial year for Yamaha. Jack is an important part of this project. In development terms, Miller is insurance. He understands V4 behavior, can translate feedback clearly, and provides a performance baseline while Toprak adapts. This pairing, experience plus fresh riding style, is deliberate. One builds the structure. The other tests its ceiling. Then came the comment that will echo across the paddock. Borsa didn't actively pursue speculation, but he didn't shut it down either when discussing Jorge Martin. If he wants to return to where his family is, we will welcome him with open arms. That's diplomacy with intent. Martin currently races elsewhere, but Pramac was his competitive home during his Ducati years. Borsa's phrasing is emotional. Where his family is. It's not a contract offer. It's relationship maintenance. And in a 2027 market expected to reshuffle heavily, those relationships matter. Pramac's 2026 story is twofold: build Yamaha's V4 future, and keep long-term rider options flexible. Toprak's adaptation will define the early season. Miller's experience will anchor development. And Martin's name remains quietly linked to a potential reunion. For Yamaha, this is a rebuild year. For the rider market, it's a reminder: no doors are ever fully closed in MotoGP. Checker flag. Marquez's 1:56.402 at Sepang put him at the top of the timesheets, ahead of Marco Bezzecchi and the factory Ducati riders. But beyond the headline time, Massini emphasized consistency. Overall, it was a very solid first test. I'm quite happy with Alex, because he was the strongest in terms of his fastest lap and also in terms of race pace. That combination matters. One lap speed proves potential. Sprint simulation pace proves race readiness. Despite a rain-affected crash midweek, Marquez finished strongest when it counted, suggesting confidence in both rider and machinery. The bigger message from Massini wasn't about lap time, it was about the bike itself. The GP26, according to Gresini's data, is an upgrade across the board. This package is really stronger than last year's. Ducati has made many small and large steps forward in all areas of the bike. That's significant. In recent years, Ducati's advantage came from power and stability. Now Massini suggests refinement. More tools, more adaptability, more balance. For satellite teams like Gresini Racing, having access to a more versatile Desmosedici means tailoring the bike closer to Marquez's strengths, not simply inheriting factory settings. Perhaps the most symbolic result? Marquez finishing ahead of the factory trio, Marc Márquez, Francesco Bagnaia and Fabio Di Giannantonio, all on the same GP26 specification. Now our job is to adapt the best bike for Alex. Translation: the hardware is competitive. Execution will decide the hierarchy. If the GP26 truly offers broader setup range and improved consistency, intra-Ducati battles could become the defining storyline of early 2026. One absence at Sepang was rookie Fermin Aldeguer, sidelined through injury. Massini made clear the team's preparation continues with him in mind. We're continuing to work for him too, Because we want to be ready for when he gets back on a bike. The plan is cautious but optimistic, targeting Brazil while carefully assessing medical risk. For Gresini, maintaining development momentum now ensures Aldegar returns to a refined platform rather than playing catch-up. Sepang doesn't award points, but it shapes expectations. Marquez leaves Malaysia as benchmark. Ducati's GP26 appears stronger and more adaptable. And Gresini believes it has the tools to fight at the front from round 1. If this trajectory continues, the 2026 title race may not just be factory red versus rivals. It could be red versus red. The stopwatch has spoken. Now the season must confirm it. Thanks for watching ZNGP Today, and this is your MotoGP news update. And see you next time!